Hi everyone, welcome back to ITOM batch 5, day 4. How are you doing guys today?
Vijay, how about you?
Good,
Great.
Ajay. Sir.
I'm also doing good. Thanks. So, I think let's proceed to the things. And again, before proceeding to the next things, I just want to again or ask you, do you have any questions to the covered topic till now? Any discussion required on that? Okay, I take silence as a no. So let's get started then. One moment, I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know once my screen is visible to you guys.
Yes, visible.
Okay. So today we are going to be start with, discovery definitions or discovery terminologies and the discovery architecture and other things, right? So how discovery works, what is discovery, why we require discovery, that we are going to be discussed today. So before I'm going to start, anyone have any idea, or can you anyone provide the simple example? What is discovery and why discovery is required?
Discovery is a process of assets getting the asset that are used in the organization getting into the service now. So there is a discovery that runs, so that would bring the assets within the organizations into the computer or the asset or the hardware table.
Okay. Anyone else wants to add?
So discover is the process of discover the configuration items and populate it CMDB.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So you mentioned discovery about to the ServiceNow reference. I definitely agreed. That's the discovery is doing. But in simple words, right? Discovery in the name contains only we have to be discover, we have to be find out, we have to do the understanding what is available, right? Now let me take you or give you a simple example. I hope you guys have been visited to medical stores, right, to purchase some medicines and all, right? If you are going to a big medical store like Apollo or some other one, right? What they do first of all, once you go to there and showcase the prescriptions, these medicines are required. First, they will start checking in their system ki on which rack number on which box number that medicine is available, because it's not possible to remember where that where that medicine is take place, or not able to find out ki we have where we have put it that particular inform or medical medicines, right? So what they do, first of all, they are checking which rack number that the medicine is available, or which box it is, right? And then they are opening and providing you. If they are not maintaining that type of inventory, and if you reached out to them, they are not able to find that, right? And they are not able to provide on time. Might be they are able to find out, but it will take a lot time to be find out where that is placed, right? So that's one moment. That's basically they placed, right? And they put a inventory of their medical system, right? So what how they did it, They discover it, right? Whenever any items or anything comes to their, you know, medical store, they are checking that informations and placing that particular medicines to particular rack and all, right? The same way here in the service now, discovery is finding the devices, finding the applications which is connecting to or which is connected to your network, and then we are going to maintain a inventory, maintain a database where we are updating that informations, right? The discovery basically going to be utilized or going to be very specific step by step to find out the information. And the one more questions comes in the picture that particular time is that ServiceNow discovery is agentless. Yes, agentless means we are not installing any software, any application if we are using ServiceNow discovery in the customer environment. The another example of it, like you have, I hope you already heard SECM. SECM is Microsoft product, right? Which is also doing a discovery, right? But what required for that? That product, the agent, Microsoft SCCM agent, need to install in every laptop or every desktop to discover, to connect with the Microsoft SCCM server, right? So whenever you are opening your laptop or desktop, automatically that agent going to be connect with Microsoft SCCM server and fetching the information from your system and passing to the server or database basically, right? So here in ServiceNow Discovery, we are not required any agent. We just need to, you know, required some prereq which is required to do that, but we are able to find out the devices, the software installations, the running processes, and what other CIs connecting or have a relationships from one to another CI, right? So that's basically ServiceNow discovery. As I mentioned in the earlier example, Medicine one, the same way, right? If you know that these particular medicines have a range of or applicable for same type of disease, definitely you are going to be put in a same rack, or might be possible you are going to be put in a same box, right? Not using the another devices, or sorry, not using the another box, right? You can put, like, if fever related, dolo, paracetamol, whatever, right? You're going to be put on the same box, right? So it's easy to find out, right? The same way here, right? If you are putting in the same box, in the same rack, it just like creating relationships, like that's connected to fever, dolo connected, then paracetamol connected, then ibuprofen connected, and etc. So that's ServiceNow doing, right? But again, now the thing is, why the ServiceNow discovery? Why not others, right? And the second thing is, why we need discovery? If I need to make an inventory, I can place 10 people and they can go to every data centers, collect the informations and put it to an Excel. Agreed? Any questions on it before moving to the next thing now?
So Ajay.
I, I hope you understand, right? Now the thing is, why discovery is required or why we are not able to do it in Excel, right? The first thing, because have you seen the small organizations where 500, 600, resources working? Do they require ServiceNow discovery? Do they are able to utilize the ServiceNow discovery properly? No, because they don't have that much infrastructures, might be, right? They have only, couple of servers, couple of network devices and all. So they can maintain in their actual states. And, if you are going to purchase a ServiceNow discovery, again, the licensing cost, the ServiceNow instance, and couple of things there. So that will be heavy cost to you, right? But if you have a big MNC where your data center is located across the globe, right? There are thousands of pupils working in it, right? Now, if you want to check everything, where on which data centers, how many devices are there, the how many things are there. Now, as I mentioned, you can do manually. You can ask your persons the 10 locations, 10 representative you can put. You can ask those 10 representative to, go to each data center, create an inventory and update in an Excel. But in the nowadays, what is happening, or it's also happening earlier, the infrastructure change is happening very, very fast, right? That can be possibility, like today one X server is working with 100 GB or 10 GB RAM and might be need to replace tomorrow with 20 GB RAM, right? Might be CPU needs to be upgrade, might be that what applications running on it needs to be updated. So the changes, if the change is happening frequently on your infrastructures, it's a big issue to update your Excel on day-to-day basis. If that's not updating, it will help, or it will create issues to running your IT operations or your businesses or your applications, right? So the best benefit of the ServiceNow discovery is it's automated. You no need to do anything. Once the prereq has been installed or prereq has been configured, you can automate the ServiceNow discovery via ServiceNow discovery schedule. Point number one. Point number two is, it's capturing, or it's, when you automate it, you can discover based on your, request. It can be every day, it can be every alternate day, it can be weekly or monthly or twice in a day, right? Anything you can configure. And once you are configured, it will give you the real time data. Everything, whatever happens to your infrastructures, if your prereq is configured and you have access of those device, it will give you the complete visibility of your devices with the real time data, as well as, which I know, the other products or the other competitors which ServiceNow having, they are not able to provide the relationships, the software installations, and couple of other things. Right. So yeah. Any questions on it? Okay. So that service now is giving you the all infrastructure information first, helping you to create your inventory. Then it's also populating the basic attributes, then creating the relationships with other type of devices which is connected to that particular device, right? So when I'm mentioning about relationships, the simple example is like, you having a Windows server which you are discovering, but that Windows server connected to a router or a switch or a firewall, means the connection happening to that Windows server from a router or switch, that also can create a discovery relationships automatically. Apart from that, whatever software installed inside of the Windows server, whatever the running process is in it, whatever the disk you available in the Windows server, how many RAMs, slots is there, or how many RAM slots is utilizing, what is the capacity of it, right? Everything is going to be discovered by ServiceNow and populating in those particular respective classes. So that particular class is basically going to utilize to see like where and what type of data is available. It just, service now segregated the data. So in this different type of CMDB classes, so resource or whatever or whoever is going to utilize that particular CMDB, it's not going to be confused. If he needs to be any informations, he can go to directly Windows server table or the Linux server table, and any other tables as well. And as you know, in the background of ServiceNow, everything is tables row and columns, nothing else, because everything happening in these particular things only, right? Whatever you are utilizing for incident, you are utilizing for problem change or any other modules, everything you are going to store in the table only. So that CMDB is just like tables, but the specific naming conventions we have configured. Okay, any questions in it? Yeah. So if no, there are, to start with the discovery, there are four things will be happening, right? The first is scan, then classification, then identifications, and then exploration. Now, let me give you a simple example here. You got an opportunity to scan a, not, let me give you in a different way. Now you are going to rent a complete full furnished house. Okay. What you do once you enter in that home, and to meet the owner, once you meet the owner, you are trying to scan the house, what thing is available here, is that freeze table, whatever you are looking, is the complete thing available in that house. If that is available, then you are going to be classify, how many things, what type of things is available, right? And if you are okay with that, you are trying to check, is anything is duplicate, means is anything which is more than one. If you find like TVs, two TVs are there, so you can say them, sir, I not required a 1 GB, only I required a 1 GB, you can take it, right? And then you are going to be explore, like what, which organizations the TB belongs, what is the configuration of TB, what is the configuration of freeze, whatever the configuration of whatever, right? So you are going to do in that way when you're going to rent a full furnished home, because that same story happens with me. So that's why I'm telling everything you are going to do, right? And then once you are going to be start a preparing a contract, you are going to be put each and everything right in that contract or the rent agreement. Okay, that's the particular things I have find out, right? So it's easy to track it later as well once you are leaving that home, right? The same thing happening in service now. So in the first step, scan, as I mentioned, you know the scanning, you are trying to scan the IT infrastructures of the organizations for the different database, or sorry, data centers. Okay, so whatever the data centers you have it, you are trying to scan. Now the question comes, I agreed, I am going to scan it, but how, from where I have to be start to scan it, what is required to scan it, right, to understand what's available. So the first thing is the IP address. The second thing is, if IP address is not there, the IP subnet. Okay, so end of the day, we required a IP address or IP subnet to discover the complete infrastructure. And again, we can use those particular IP address or IP subnets to configure in ServiceNow discovery schedules, right? So that's the basic thing, right? Prereq, I will take it later. Prereq is something different, but to scan the infrastructures, the data centers, whatever, you required a IP address or IP subnet. I will tell you IP subnet is some same, but how that will basically works, right? Then second thing, once you put the IP address in the systems and start scanning or discovering the device, automatically you have no need to do anything. The second phase will be triggered, the classification. Classifications will be happening based on the port found open in the scanning phase and the credential pass in the classification phase, right? So once you started using the IP address, the scanning based on the port, as I mentioned in the last class, the specific port are required, right? If I found port 22 and my system identified it's a Linux device. I found 3389. It identified the system belongs to Windows. I found 161 UDP. System identified it's a network device, right? So on the first step, the port checks will be happen, and that's identifying what type of device it is. Okay. And once it is found that type of device it is, in the second phase, which is classification, classification checks based on the device type found in the first step for the credentials in the credential table. Is the credentials available for that? If yes, then let's pass to the next step. If no, let's stop on the next the same step, and the error will come active could not classify. Means the machine is working, could not classify, might be credential issues, right? And once the credential is passed, once the things is done, it will move to identification. In identification, it will try to find out the basic information of the device, like the serial number, like the small basic attribute, which help to identify that the device is already available in ServiceNow or no. If the same type of serial number device already available in ServiceNow in any specific table, it will going to be update the existing record, not going to create a new record. And here the terminology which we called IRE, identification and reconciliation rules engine, comes in the picture, which is going to be discovered, which is going to be based on that we are going to be find out we need to create a new record or we need to update a existing record. Okay, based on the serial number, and there are a couple of other attribute can be, and that IRE, identification and reconciliation, is completely configurable. You can control it to remove the duplicacy in your environment. And the last step is exploration, where the complete discovery patterns and other things will be triggered to discover the complete device. As I mentioned on example, a Windows device you are discovering, on top of it, an application is running, a database is running, whatever the software are running, whatever that are running processes are there, whatever the disk, RAM, whatever, right? So it's going to be explore the complete device and discovering and creating or updating the existing record, right? Once it's creating, might be it will take little extra time, means 10 seconds, but if already CI is created, the things is available, now that needs to update only, right? So next time when you are running discovery for a CI, it will take 2 or 3 seconds, because you need to update the existing record. Everything is available on the CI, but whatever the changes happen in last 24 hours or a day or month, that is going to be update on that CI. That's all, right? So that's I mentioned here. In scan, it's going to be find out or scan your IT environments for the discoverable configuration item. So now who are going to be provide the list of the CIs or IP subnets to whom you are working with? Might be your customer stakeholders, might be your network team there. They will provide you the data center locations, they will provide you these are the IPs, or these are the IP subnets which we are using at our environment. Same mention classifying device by operating system. So once you identified a port in the scan phase, it's classifying. Third, identifying the device needs to update or created as an identification rule. Exploring for running processes, relationships, software installed, and the network gear connectivities, right? So these are the four things which happens in the ServiceNow discovery. By if any step is fails, example, if the step scanning is fails, discovery immediate stop there. It doesn't mean if it is failed, let's move to the next step. No. The same way, if classification is phased or identification is phased or exploration is basically find last step, but If it is any step is failed, discovery going to be stopped there and not going to be update or create or running the discovery for that particular device. So I hope that four phases of discovery is your understanding now. Any questions in it?
So Ajay, so ServiceNow by itself has its own discovery system, right? So why do like the organizations use different discovery sources like Tanium, Tenable, or Intune?
Now, that's good question basically. So Ansari, what will happen in the markets, right? So like, there are two type of component or device in the market or in a customer environment. One is customer infrastructure. When I'm mentioning customer infrastructures, I'm specifically focusing on the data center type of devices, the network devices, the I can say servers, routers, whatever infrastructure devices. Second is end user devices. When I'm mentioning about end user, it's laptop, it's desktop, it's mobile, it's tablet, or so and so, which is
Any
used
hardware,
by
I mean.
hardware is everything, right? So which is used by a candidate or a resource who are working in their organizations, or might be used by a partner or vendor, because lots of organizations having that one, right? So these, one is infrastructures, one is end user devices, right? Now ServiceNow, as you know, ServiceNow licensing cost is very high, right? So if I just want to discover the end user components. So what I heard and what I see in last couple of years, 90 pupils, or sorry, 95% pupils using the outsourced or the third party tools to discover the end user devices. But when it comes to infrastructure device discovering, they are using the ServiceNow discovery. It's just to cost saving, because what why they want to be have a laptop to be available with the complete configuration. What is going to be impact? Only they need a record in their inventory, yeah, that's a laptop or a desktop, or that is assigned to that particular person, and that is the configuration of it. If somehow, example, if somehow that laptop is not working, you can go raise an incident, put a reference of that particular configuration item of that laptop and create it, right? So IT team will take care about it. But if a infrastructure server is not working, that's directly going to be impact your business. Might be that particular component connected to any XYZ application, XYZ database, right? If it is not working, it's directly going to be impact your business, right? So you need keep up to date every time that type of devices. Getting my point? So
Yep, yep, yep.
just for cost saving, they are using the third party. But there are other, I can say the politics or other things at customer environment always, right? Sometimes customers say, I don't want to use the discovery. I have, because they already using couple of other things from last couple of years and they trust it, right? Like they are using the Red Hat, they are using the SolarWinds, they are using Intune or something, right? So they say, I have everything. My discovery is going to be completed and I'm satisfied with the that result which we are getting as of now from those source. I just need to be update my service now CMDB. So let's integrate with that and update my CMDB. That is also one of the case. But if they are saying that one, what we have to do, we have to showcase the value of our ServiceNow discovery. We just need to find out what they are doing, how they are doing, and what they are getting. Let's take an example. From the Red Hat or the SolarWinds, they are discovering their devices and finding, and they are getting this very less attributes. They are not getting relationships. They are not getting software installation and whatever, right? You have the use case now. Build that use case, Showcase, ServiceNow Discovery will give you that components which is not getting it, and how that will be helpful to you save your business needs. So we have to be proposed some use case, some value add to the customer if we want to push customer to use ServiceNow Discovery, right? So that's all about the discovery, why it's required, how it's going to be, and these are the four phases of discovery. Any other questions from anyone else?
One question, Ajay,
Um,
from me again. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Go ahead,
sure.
Vasant. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, just one small question, Ajay. So, Ajay, when you mentioned we just need an IP address or an IP subnet to discover an application or an infra of an organization. So, is
Mhm.
that what, if that's the only prerequisite for having in discovery, then why do we have something called as discovery pattern? So, I know you would be coming to that topic later, but just to understand, are these only things enough to discover something, or even with IP address and IP subnet, we would miss something, and there are certain more things like pattern which are needed.
I'm definitely right. So, everything have a specific requirements to do that, right? So as I mentioned, IP address and IP subnet is the first basic prereq, right? Without that, if you have everything, if you don't have IP address, you cannot do the discovery. Okay, like when you start eating, and everything is served to you, but not serve the rice, or not serve that full car roti, you cannot eat it, right? You cannot depend on the dal or curry and all, right? You need it. The same way, whenever you are going to do discovery, you require the first is IP address and that subnet. Second thing, you ask for pattern. That is the next step. Next step means, patterns is one of the thing which is already provided by ServiceNow out of the box for most of the things. Only certain cases we have to build patterns, or props and whatever, because customer needs some extra things, or might be out of the box things or patterns not available. And pattern is nothing, only the step by step finding, or performing the steps to get the more information from the device. Now let me ask you an example. uh, Vasant, if I ask you, I need your laptop serial number, how you are able to help me?
So I would go to the system properties and I will get you.
Okay, now you go to the system properties and get it, right? And if
Yeah,
I ask you, can you help me to showcase your RAM size or your disk size? What you do?
yeah, that also I can get it from the properties.
Okay, so now the three things I asked, the serial number, RAM, and hard disk. If I can ask you to write in a step. So what you do, write in steps, you mention log into my system, go to system properties and check this particular attribute, right? Means serial number. Then you will write the second step to get RAM address, RAM size, go to login my system, go to the system properties and check for this particular attribute, right? The same way the pattern mentioned, means in the patterns we are using WMI commands, or the red hat sorry, Linux commands and couple of other things, right? So that the step by step is mentioned in the pattern. If if let in Windows, if I tell you, if I get a serial number of your laptop, I will write a command WMIC BIOS get serial number, okay, from the command prompt. And if I write it, if I directly enter it, I will get your laptop serial number. If I get it that one, I am going to be passed that information in the pattern and updating that serial number to the target device, right? So that's how the pattern step by step is mentioned to gather, to find each and every informations from the system and populate it to the target table or target device. That's how the pattern is working, but the basic is IP address. or
So,
IP subnet.
Ajay, yeah, so Ajay, something like with IP address, we can discover devices. That would be the basic prereq. But only with IP address or IP subnet, we cannot make a confirmed decision that we can discover everything about the organization. Something like that, right? If
Exactly,
my understanding. Okay.
exactly, right. So that's the basic, but there are couple of other prereq required based on the device type, based on other things. I'm going to be covered on the next slides as well.
Okay. Okay, I got it.
Okay, yeah, and I think Ansari is asking some question.
Yep, Ajay. So one small question. So I came across one of the discovery source as credential-less discovery. What
Hmm.
exactly is that?
Okay. Do you want to hear now, or I think I have a topic already in my slides later.
Oh, yeah, no
Let
problem. We
me
can
let,
cover it
let me
later.
give you a brief example only, right?
Uh-huh.
In the credential-less discovery is nothing. Credential-less discovery is you got an IP address, you got the the IP subnet, and you just configured in the discovery schedule and run it. You not receive the complete prereq of the discovery, which is credential also required, right? So you enable the credential-less discovery from a specific mid servers, and once you enabled it, you triggered the discovery, and now discovery is, trying to find out the device which we are able to reach out, right? So, let's take an example. Me and you are good friends. Do I required every time to reach out to you to, to call you, or to, have on to inform the security on the gate? No, right? I can reach out to you directly. But if I reach out to you directly, it doesn't mean I know everything about you, right? Might be I know only five things to you, right? The same thing happening here. So credential-less discovery once triggered, that discovering the devices, but only two, three, or not more than five. Five attribute is able to discover it. And the basic attribute might be serial number, might be RAM, might be hard disk size, or what is the OS, and who is manufacturer of it, right? So five or six attribute is only able to discover with the credential-less discovery. But why the credential-less discovery is used is just to see or check the connection with the target machine from ServiceNow servers. So if you started discovery, you have a visibility in customer environment. We have 5,000 devices customer has been given, and in that we are able to see those particular informations, or those particular device have the connectivity. Now let's move to that credentials discovery basically. So we need to be enable that one just to be scan the complete infrastructures of that customer based on the IP subnets. Okay. I hope you're good, Ansari, right? Let's move to the
Yep,
next
I got
thing.
it. I got it. Thank you so much, Ajay.
Okay. Now, as I mentioned already in the last slide, why discovery is required. It's again going to be help you out for the incident resolutions, asset management, security operations, change management, audit and compliance, and automations, right? And if you are able to see in right hand side, this is something a simple example of, I can say, a relationships basically. Okay, so here it's an endpoint. On that endpoint is going to be connected with the WebSphere portal, and then there are Linux server is connected, then database is connected. So it's just a simple relationships we can say, or it's a dependency map we can say, which is connected or discovered by ServiceNow automatically, right? So we are going to show. I going to show you on the instance as well when we move into the instance for the discovery and other things, and I will show you how that relationship is built and where it's going to be created, right? So meanwhile, let's move to the next thing. Discovery goals and use case, which is we have already discussed, right? So the main goal and the use cases is automating discovery of configuration items and the CMDB populations, as I mentioned, right? Then understand the purpose and the uses of the discovered configuration item, right? So whatever we are discovering, we are unable to understand how much utilization we have it, what is the use of it, and where that going to be utilized, right? Then it's help to provide the effective service operations for ITSM and ITOM. If we have, populated discover CMDB properly, we can easily identify the couple of informations, right? So who owns the device, which belongs to that particular device, what is the assignment group, and what are the configuration of it, right? So anyone wants to troubleshoot on that particular issues, they have little understanding about it, right? And then managing enterprise hardware and software assets, right? So if we have available that one, we can also go for the item IT operations, IT asset management, where we can manage that, complete life cycle of a hardware or of a software from end to end, when it's purchased, when it's going to be retired, how many licenses we have, it, everything, right? So if we have complete, proper CMDB available, and it's discovered by discovery, there are a lot benefit of it, right? These are the basics which I have mentioned here, or the use cases, right? Now let me move to the next things. So this is the couple of terminologies which we are going to use in, in the next classes, right? Or because we I'm going to be talk about the sensors, props, patterns, these the basic informations. So you should little understanding about it, right? What is horizontal discovery, what is top to down discovery, props, pattern, and all, right? So let me quickly go through it. Before that, any questions till now from anyone else? And I
Okay,
hope other
Pranjit.
guys who are attending understanding and correlate with the terminologies, or with that, things which we have covered till now. Guys, if you have any issues, because I see only Vasant and Ansari is speaking. If you have any issues, guys, please feel free to ping, or ask your question here. Otherwise, if it's going, if you think let me ask tomorrow and day after tomorrow, might be not useful that time. You can stop me anytime. You can ask your questions, please. Okay. Now let's move to the horizontal discovery. Horizontal discovery is nothing. It's a normal discovery which we always say service now discovery, right? That's the horizontal discovery. It's discover the devices in the horizontal way. And when I'm mentioning horizontal way is, it's discovering the attribute, it's discovering the software install on it, with variety of any type of devices which have IP enabled, right? And it's trying to find out the IP of applications and updating the CIs in the CMDB when collect the data. So it's a normal discovery which we called horizontal discovery. Right. Now the next things is come top to down discovery. And it's top to down discovery we also called vertical discovery. Right. So don't be confused. Top to down and vertical is the same thing, right? Here we are discovering the CIs in a specific manner, right? And that top to down and vertical discovery we also called service mapping, right? So here we are discovering the CIs for a specific business service or application service, right? Because we have already done our horizontal discovery, we understand that the CI's information is already mentioned. Now what we have to do a very specific, very specific discovery for the devices, right? So here, if I give you an example again, see, you have Airtel, okay, not use Airtel.com, Airtel.com/recharge. So this is your business application, or you can say business service, which is recharge, which is doing recharge, right? So let's take an example. If you are reaching out to Airtel.com recharge, you don't know in the backend what is happening, but here you can see once you go to the recharge, prepaid or might be postpaid. Okay, now in the prepaid you are selecting So there are different type of recharge capabilities available. You are going to do that, or might be in postpaid. You are able to see the bill and all, right? Now everything you are able to do here in the front, it's a UI configured, right? But in the backend, what will happening? Any user reach out to this airtel.com recharge, that is going to hit a server 10 dot or a load balancer basically 10.9 10 dot sorry x dot x dot x. Okay, it's reaching out to that load balancers, and whenever you are migrating to prepaid or postpaid, it going to reach out to the specific web server again, right? So it's a LB, load balancers. It's a web. Okay, so might be that is 12 dot x dot x x. Okay, and then it's going to the application server, and this is the basic that type. Most of the organizations architectures for their applications is looks like only this, right? Then 13 dot x dot x dot sorry, yeah, shit, 13 dot. Okay, and then database. So again database I'm just mentioning, and the database. Okay, so these are the basic four. Oh my God, where we are. Okay, yeah. These are the four basic, applications, or we can say component is going to utilize in a very specific applications, right? So here, because we have already discovered these devices with the horizontal discovery, what we are going to do, we are going to create a top to down discovery, like, this will come in the top, and this will come in here. Might be two web servers are there, then applications, might be two applications are there, or might be a database is there, right? So that type of architectures we are creating using the service maps, which is going to be aligned with the customer architecture, which already they have it, right? So that's why we called top to down discovery or a horizontal discovery to do that. Okay, so, and if I go back to my PPT, and if I again go to this particular slide, if you are able to see that, yeah, right. So this is also looks like the same only, right? If there is an HTTP endpoint, it's going to be connected with IBM WebSphere web server. Then it's going to be connected to iPlanet web server, and then it's connected to the application server here, Solaris, and here it's going to be connected with the database. So it's creating or connected to top to down, right? And that top to down discovery is possible with the service mapping. How we are doing this one, I think that I will tell you in the service mapping classes, right? But just a simple example. Okay, now the next thing is props, right? Props and sensors are the script that collect and process data on host, then update the CMDB, right? So as I mentioned, props earlier, I think we are using props. Now mostly things move to the pattern side, but props is nothing. It's a script which where we have put it the command. That command need to be run, like let's take an example, a business rule. In business rule, what you do, you have to configuring a specific condition, like if page loads or page, new record inserted or page updates, whatever, you have to trigger that particular thing, right? The same way happening here in the props. That's the script basically which help to process the data and update the CMDB. Props going to be props explore and investigate CI on your network. Discovery uses a horizontal prop to kick off discovery pattern in the later stage of the process, right? So that's basically just nothing, but it's a script and the commands which we automatically going to be triggered. Now discovery identifiers. So after discovery classify ACI, it uses identifiers to determine if the device is already exists or not, right? Which we have discussed in the last session, right? Then mid server. Now I think everyone knows we are using mid application to discover the devices in the customer environment, and mid application is the what I can say is the middleware to connect the customer environment devices to the service now. It will act as a middle. So customer devices connected to mid servers and mid server connected to the service now. Directly customer device is not connected to that service now instance. Okay. So it a lightweight Java applications that runs on a Windows service in your local network. So what we do, we ask customer to provide some space or some server, and inside that we are going to install that applications, which help to enable the communications and the movement of the data between a ServiceNow instance and the external applications, data source, and the services. So as I mentioned, it act as a middleware. Whatever the device you are using or going to connect for discovery in the customer environment, that's connecting through the mid servers and responding to the mid servers, and the only mid server connecting to the ServiceNow instance to populate to update the records using the ACC queue. Okay. Oh, I think I come to the next slide. My bad. Okay, the props we have discussed. Patterns is just like, uh, sensors, or it's just like a series basically. Here we are doing a specific single script, single command. It's a series of operations that also collect data on host, process it, and update the CMDB, right? It's just like a props and sensors only, right? Pattern differ from props and sensors in the type of programming language it use. I think patterns is using NBL, Nebula programming language, right? Then we have sensors. This is the piece that brings back data into input file in the ACC queue. So if you see, when we are discovering that one thing is triggered, the as output file, that's our command. And once we are getting the data as input file, that's the work completed by the sensors in ACC queue. Then CMDB, as you know, it's a database of the configuration item throughout their life cycle, configuration management systems, and maintaining, the CMDBs, attributes, and relationships of it, right? CI. CI is a unique, identified, physical and logical component which used to deliver a service or a product, right? For which changes are controlled, any component that needs to be managed or configured, that can be a CI, right? So it's a simple configuration item which can be a physical or a logical, and which help to deliver a service or a product, right? So CMDB is a database. Inside that CMDB, we have lots of CIs. Lots of CIs belongs to the different classes. Okay, this next is classes only. So describe a CMDB table that contains and represent a specific type or group of the CI, and share common attributes such as operating system, function, or the purpose, right? So that can be possibility based on the specific CIs. The attribute will be differ, right? So that's why if Windows is a CI, that belongs to that type of attributes only, right? Might be Linux has a different type of attributes, network has a different type of attributes, right? So that is representing the specific type of group of CIs basically. That's the class. Any questions in this particular one, first of all?
Ajay, question on probes and sensors here.
Mhm.
Is the context of probes and sensors would be like similar? Like probes also is a script, and sensors also or script like that
Yeah,
would bring or
definitely, right. So both are the script based, but only the difference is if props is triggering to collect the data and sensors are bringing the data to our instance. Getting my point?
okay.
So let's take an example. Okay, so you I hope you ordered, you ordered couple of things, right? Sometimes you ask, I need to deliver that particular things from my house to the different friend house, right? So someone comes, right? Might be he picked that particular things from your house, but he's not delivered. Okay, he just reach out to that particular, locations and ask to deliver it someone else to deliver it. The same way, props is just, a reference or a script that is inside the command is written to trigger that particular specific command on the network, or the, Windows server, to get that information. And once that information is populated, sensors immediately comes in the picture, and they will fetch the informations from there and populate it to ServiceNow CMDB. Means one person is for delivering, and one person is taking the output, or that, things from there to populate the ServiceNow CMDB. And it's a command only, nothing else. Okay, inside that, the things is mentioned, how need to be passed the informations, how where you need to be populate, and how, which class and other things will be, means that the conditions will be there only.
Okay, so both, like maybe if sensors or probes, if the output will be in the JSON format, or these things convert the output, because to populate into the CMDB, how
Mhm.
will the information from the host would be in
No, they
uh,
did that converting, right? So might be it different hosts. It should not be in the JSON format only, right? But they are converting that output to showcase to readable for us as well.
okay, these sensors convert that or props convert that? So
Sensors convert that
okay.
once the output is comes to us. I will definitely, once we move to the discovery side, I will showcase you how the input or the props is triggering that informations, and how the sensors is coming back the data. And you can see the differences, because props, you're not able to read it, what is triggered now, right? Because that's in different format, but you are able to understand that something is going, right? But once output is come, you can see that, the output is coming in this way. We'll showcase you that one. I think that will a very easy to give you understanding about that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Jay.
Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Okay, this one. So ECCQ is a connection. ECC's full formation is external communication channel, and is a connection point between an instance to the other system that integrate with it, a place to check the phase of the discovery for troubleshooting purpose, right? So sometimes what happened when you are running discovery, and that, uh, you are not able to see the response, or not able to see the discovery output and all, right? Go to the ECCQ table, just check for the device type or particular device IP key you have triggered, and in ECCQ you can see the connection details basically. Is that able to connect to that particular device, is able to get that information or output from there, right? So ECC just a logs, right? Like if whatever type of, sometimes you see the transaction logs, or sometimes you see the different type of logs. So ECCQ is the logs for your external connections basically. It can be discovery, it can be, any integrations which we via mid server, or it can be anything, right? Which where mid servers comes in the picture, the ECCQ is the logs where you can see that informations. Then is discovery status. It's provide you the complete summary of the discovery launch from a schedule. You can also cancel or discover that, status from there. Discovery classifiers, that is tells which probe or trigger for identification and exploration, right? Of phase of the discovery, right? So it will tell you this particular pattern name, Windows or Linux, the pattern is triggered in the exploration phase or in the identification phase. So that will give you that informations. Classifier can also trigger the horizontal pattern probes, which launches a pattern rather than additional phase or additional probe or identification. Means it just a give to informations what is going on in the discovery classifiers, which what are the triggered, what is pending, or all informations, right? Then discovery identifiers we discussed, mid-server we discussed, CI discovery. So CI discovery is nothing type of a discovery to find the devices, computers, applications on your network that standard type discovery that you run most often, right? So someone asks, come to say, I need a discovery of that CI. Don't be confused. It's just a simple ask to discover that particular device using the IP address. Then we have configuration item discovery, right? So run the discovery to find AWS and Azure resources in your organization cloud. Cloud provisioning and governance application is not required to discover the cloud resources, right? So again, no other subscriptions required when you want to do a cloud discovery. It automatically going to be discovered once you have normal discovery available, but that again, pre-rec and the configuration is different way, right? So we'll tell you about that as well. And the discovery schedules where you are going to be configure the discovery schedules, when it want to run, which mid server it's going to use, and what is a location, what is a local environment. So everything you can configure through the discovery schedule to discover those particular devices, right? So these are, I think, these are the basic terminologies which we are going to be which we are going to discuss multiple time in the next coming classes, right? So you just little bit understanding about it. Any questions on it before moving to the next things? Okay, I take silence as a no, and then let's move to, I think we have already discussed that one. That is only just want to showcase in a different way. There are two type of discovery, what we call horizontal, second we call vertical, or top to down, or the service mapping, right? It's going to be the word horizontal discovery, discovering the devices, vertical discovery is discovering the services based on the horizontal discovery. If your horizontal discovery is not completed, top to down discovery is not going to do that, right? Anything, because the first that CI should be discovered, everything should be populated in CMDB, and that's the only useful. After the horizontal discovery, you're going to do the vertical discovery. I think, yeah, let's discuss. I think that's all for today. Now let's take the floor for 5 minutes for question and answers if anyone have anything related to that. Anyone have any questions, anything which you want to discuss? Okay, if no, I think we are good for today, guys. So we'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. Till the time, have a good day. Still no one
Thanks, Ajay.
speaking? Okay.
Sure, Ajay. You as well,
Yeah.
Ajay. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
You
Thank
have
you,
a
Ajay.
beautiful rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.